Cancer, hello. I apologize for my voice. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. I've been under the weather, so I'm so sorry that I'm getting this to you a little bit late. But this is going to be your January check-in. I've just now got my voice back, so please bear with me here. I wanted to get these messages out, but I was down with the flu, and it was a bad one. So please bear with me. I've got my tea here ready, and we're going to get down to it. For the January check-in, what I've actually decided to do is take an overall look at 2026 for you, starting with your overall energy, the major challenge that you'll be kind of going through this year as we enter into the year of the fire horse 2026, how you can overcome that, and of course anything that spirit wants you to know. Okay, but first we're going to go ahead and see what your overall energy is for 2026. Show me Cancer, please. Thank you. Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords in the shadow. So hopefully that Nine of Swords is on its way out here. Yeah, nice. Okay. So it looks like there's some major arcana happening behind the scenes here in your shadow, Cancer. So what I hope is that Nine of Swords energy, that kind of, the things that ail us mentally, the fears that we have, our anxieties, insomnia, headaches, even what I'm hoping is that this Nine of Swords energy is on its way out into a Pentacles. We're trying to make way for some change. We're trying to make way for some transformation here with that Magician that I saw, death, transformation here in the shadow, and as well that Emperor energy as well. So taking charge. Perhaps for some of you, even taking accountability, taking in a new way, right? Showing up with different priorities here for 2026, trying to focus on something different, which is nice. I did see that Devil energy in the back, so that is Capricorn energy, so your sign opposite, which could mean a couple of things. You're leaning into your shadow self, right? Or it could mean that we are acknowledging some aspects of ourselves that no longer serve, and we're trying to put those behind us as we step forward into this new year. But let's go ahead and see what we can see, okay? Show me what Cancer should leave behind. Thank you. Six of Pentacles. Interesting. Show me the challenge, the overall challenge for Cancer. That's too many. I'll see that though. Show me the overall challenge for Cancer, please. We'll let that roll. How can Cancer overcome this? How can Cancer overcome this challenge? Show me how Cancer can overcome this challenge, please. Thank you. Oh, didn't even need to ask the question. All right. There's that Magician. Where is he here? Yeah, so he's closer now in that shadow. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like you want things to change for sure. You want to change where you're standing or how you're feeling maybe. Right, there's some aspect of that change that you feel, it seems, or you're showing me you feel is necessary here. But still that Four of Cups, right? So the Four of Cups is a Cancer card. So I like this and I don't like this. And I'll explain why. So I like this because it's the last Cancer card, meaning that you're no longer comfortable sitting where you are. You want to continue forward, right? You want to keep moving through this cycle here. And so that's really nice to see. It's almost this acknowledgement of I've come as far as I can. in this way, and now it's time to change things and do things in a different way, which is very much what I'm seeing on your board, but we'll get there. The reason I don't like this card is because as much as we're willing, Cancer, there's also, with the Four of Cups, a bit of unwillingness, right? A little bit of stubbornness, a little bit of, I reject this. I don't want this. So this idea of trying to control or curate what we do, or how change impacts us, or what kind of change we want. There's another sign that got this as well, and I'm not sure, but this idea of curating what kind of change we want and wanting to control the outcome of the transformation that we're seeking, right? And that's not possible. The whole point of change is to change. And we won't fully understand what we're changing until we get to that point, right? So this idea of kind of not wanting to do the work or disengaging or whatever, that element is there, but it also is, it's like, you're showing me that, but you're also showing me that you're ready and willing to stand up and do the work here. So coming into the board, the Six of Pentacles, in terms of what we should be leaving behind, this idea of having a firm grasp on what we're doing, or almost giving and exchanging, this idea in contrast with the Two of Pentacles, having a handle on, or a good, almost like autopilot, right? Our routine. We get up, we do what we have to do. We're set in a routine. And so it feels like we need to leave some aspects of that routine behind. And we need to look at what in our routine is no longer working, or how our routine is lacking, where we're giving, how we're showing up, how that's lacking in comparison to what we want, right? And where we want to see those aspects of change. Coming in here to that challenge and obstacle position, we have the Six of Wands and the Knight of Cups, both in reverse. I feel like this speaks on gaining something from our peers, or gaining something from others watching us, or others boosting us up, right? So perhaps had too much of a reliance on getting credit or receiving credit, right? Validation from others, validation from our peers. This idea of not knowing our cup, or not looking too deep within our cup, doing any self-reflection here, because we're focused on other people, or judging ourselves by other people, right? We're not judging ourselves by our measure of who we are, what we want to accomplish, all of those things. We're judging it by what others perceive, or what others say about us, right? And perhaps too reliant on that. So that feels like the challenge as we head into 2026. And that makes sense, right? Because we have these, we want some sort of change. And so we want to ask people, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think about this? And try to navigate some uncharted territory here. But we have to be careful of being too reliant on other people to walk our path. We are the only ones that can do that. Cancer is the only one that can do that, right? So the challenge I'm seeing here, and we'll clarify, of course, is being too reliant on that social dynamic, that judging ourselves by how others view us idea, right? How to change that or overcome this? Lean into the scary thing. Lean into the scary thing. And, I don't know what that scary thing is for you. Could show up very differently for different cancers, right? But it feels like whatever you're afraid of is what's calling your attention, is what needs to be peeled back, right? And examined almost. Need to know, Hermit in reverse. Yeah, again, it just speaks to this idea of we're in uncharted territory heading into 2026. This is a version of us that or we want to explore a version of us that we don't have any footing for, any basis for, which again, it makes sense that we want to rely on other people, right? And seek their guidance, because this is a place that we haven't been, unfamiliar territory, uncharted territory, right? It's scary. But it's something that's very personal, something that is your journey, right? If you're walking this journey, or if other people are walking this journey for you, then it's not truly yours, right? So let's go ahead and get some clarifiers here for that Six of Pentacles. That's too many. Thank you. Oh. This is a little bit harder than I thought. I apologize. All right, I'm just going to take a look in the shadow here. Yeah, it does feel like a struggle. Like you're open, but you're resistant, and there's maybe some parts of you are open, but you're only open to a certain extent to do this, right? Before you kind of walk it back or take it back here. The moon, there's a fear here, right? There's a big fear here, and it's kind of how do we transition away from it? And I'm wondering if this fear is bleeding into your routine, and so, perhaps you're avoiding things, certain topics, certain people, certain places, certain aspects of yourself because of that fear, right? We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Devil, and Judgment here, clarifying that Six of Pentacles. Yeah. Feels like there's a devil hiding in here. And it makes sense that there's fear here. We're scared of bringing this to light, right? But I think you understand that it's time to deal with, what's been holding you back. And it feels like this devil energy really has, that's Capricorn, right? It's your sign. It's your sign opposite, your shadow energy. But it feels like, yes, it feels like your shadow energy, but it also feels like you've been stifling this devil or ignoring, that kind of shadow self, or some aspect of it. And it feels like, we're routinely ignoring it. And perhaps we've been doing that because we're so scared of what acknowledging that would look like, right? And for some people, for different people, it could be different things. Acknowledging that we're really angry with, something. Acknowledging that we're really, fearful of something. Acknowledging whatever this devil energy is. And it feels like he's been sitting there kind of ignored for a long time. So it makes sense that there's anger. It makes sense that there's, maybe jealousy or something like that, right? And it's almost like we need to acknowledge that before we can move forward, Cancer. And so what I'm seeing here is like we need to break down our daily habits and figure out, okay, what am I ignoring here? Or what's that elephant in the room that I need to acknowledge, right? And bring that to the surface so that we can start dealing with it here. That's what I'm seeing in terms of leaving behind. We need to leave behind, not the devil, but we need to leave behind ignoring him or ignoring that feeling, right? That itching. We need to acknowledge him so that we can put him behind us. Let's clarify that Six of Wands and the Knight of Cups, please. Thank you. All right, let's see. So, Ace of Swords and the King of Swords. Yeah, you need a new perspective here, right? There's some new truth. There's some new element of perspective. There's some new thought pattern that it feels like, I'm wondering if you're aware, needs to happen. I feel like you are, whether or not you admit that. But there's an awareness here, something needs to change. And it feels like some sort of truth, foundational truth that you've relied upon requires change. And that's hard, right? Especially when it impacts us at that deep of a level. Yeah, there's that Death card again. And that Six of Wands. So your shadow actually looks quite good here. This idea of doing the work or renouncing what no longer works with that Five of Pentacles to go after or in search of what truly makes you happy, that fulfillment, that drive, that goal, right? So the obstacle here for you is clarified by the Ace of Cups, Ten of Wands in reverse, and the Ten of Pentacles here. So a change wants to come through. And again, this idea of the Ten of Wands in reverse and the Ten of Pentacles right side up feels like this idea of you battling yourself here, this inner battle of wanting it, but also wanting to stay where you are or control the process, right? This idea of where you're conflicted, understanding where you're conflicted, right? And perhaps even what's all needed here is to acknowledge that conflict within you. And perhaps that's where the process starts, is once you acknowledge, yes, I do feel this way. Yes, I am angry. Yes, I am, jealous. I am these things. And I've been ignoring that for a long time. And once you get to that point of acknowledgement, you can start to go that layer deeper and understand, well, why am I angry? Why am I jealous? Why am I feeling like I can't? Why am I feeling like this, right? And start doing that work to unearth that. But first you have to get through that initial layer of that shock value, almost, it feels like, right? And by paying attention, it feels like, by paying attention to other people and getting that validation from other people, it's keeping you away from this devil energy, keeping you away from acknowledging that shock value initial, I'm really angry, I'm not happy, right? Whatever that is, that's holding you back. It's keeping you away from that, but it's also kind of feeding that devil in a way, because you become reliant on that validation from outside of you. And it doesn't have to be people. It could be things, right? Shopping, gambling, drinking, smoking, right? This idea of we're better when we're around these things, or we have these things. We're a better person through their lens because they're saying that I'm a good person. So then we become reliant on constantly hearing, oh, I'm this, I am this, because this person sees it. But I'm not this when they don't say it. Or I need, I need another pair of shoes. I need another this, right? That idea of consuming, because we're not acknowledging what is within us. And so this Ace of Cups, Ten of Wands in the reverse, and the Ten of Pentacles right side up feels like that pull, right? That push and pull, that conflict that you're having within yourself. And it feels like, that challenge is, how do we acknowledge that, right? How do we know when we're feeding one thing when we should be feeding another, right? So that's what it feels like the dance is. And that feels very personal. And you're not alone in this, Cancer. Every reading that I've done, it's been very personal for everyone, okay? So you're not the only one. Show me the moon, please. Show me the moon for Cancer, please, in terms of how they should overcome this. Show me the moon for Cancer. Yeah. So what I'm seeing here with the tower just kind of coming through, it does feel like there will be some monumental tower moment for you, Cancer, in 2026. Okay. That helps break this down for you. I do see that happening for you here. Coming into the moon energy with the Hierophant, with that clarified by the Hierophant, the Five of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles. And first of all, I will say there's a lot of grounded energy here, right? And very little cup energy, aside from you showing up on the shadow here, and that Ace of Cups. This is all earth energy, right? The Hierophant, Taurus, Five of Cups, Six of Cups, Seven of Cups. So there's a progression here, right? So how do you move forward, or how do you overcome this, right? It picks up, that grounded energy picks up where you leave off, right? With that Four of Cups, that idea of we've taken this path as far as we can, right? Cancer, elevating to the next step, but we're taking it from a practical standpoint. We're taking it from a place of feeling grounded and having a general understanding of what we're battling, what we're choosing to acknowledge, what we're choosing to hide from, where we're choosing to focus our energy versus what we should be focusing on. And this idea of looking in the shadows and acknowledging that fear, right? Feels very important to look that fear in the face and own it, right? Because the only way through that, or to get to the other side, to get to where you want to be, Cancer, is to walk through that, right? And to acknowledge that moon energy, acknowledge that devil energy, and say, yeah, I get it. I'm angry, or I'm this, or I'm that, but not just stop there. Move through it. Why am I like this? Why do I feel this way? Why am I continuing to feel this way? I can't just sit here in this anger. How can I move through it and find a better place? Instead of just sitting here and acknowledging, which is kind of going round and round and round and creating this routine of, not seeing that devil energy or hiding around that devil energy where he works kind of in plain sight, right? You have to acknowledge it in order to unearth it and remove him. So here with the Hierophant, the Five of Cups, and the Five of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles to the Seven, very much this idea of moving through. So how can we fix this? Well, we have to move through it alone. We have to renounce what's not working for us anymore. We have to acknowledge our responsibility in this. We have to acknowledge what we did to get to this point, how reliant we've become on this, how dependent, right? And maybe that anger is a welcome companion, right? Right. And so there's this idea of we have to move beyond that. We have to let some aspect of that go, change our priorities, right? And so in order to do that, we have to figure out what should change so that we can reinstitute, different priorities and start a different routine from a place of, we don't want this here anymore. We want to be in a different place. We want to be in a different space, right? So really tending to our garden and tending to what we give our attention to, what we give our effort to, what we give our time to. How do we respond when something challenges us? How do we respond when somebody, isn't the nicest person to us? Do we respond in anger, right? Or do we acknowledge, okay, they have their reasons. Did I play a part in their anger or what have you, right? So to acknowledge, right, that fear aspect, that fear component, so we can make sure that we are setting out in 2026 to do what we want to do and to acknowledge what we want to acknowledge and change what we want to change. Very interesting. Show me that Hermit card in reverse in terms of what Cancer needs to know. Thank you. Where was here? 8 of Cups. Yeah, it could be that fear. It could be that anger. It could be that hurt. That is so much a part of your identity that we don't want it to be part of your identity anymore, right? So how do we walk away from that? It could be that you're showing me here, right? We no longer want to exist in this way, in this feeling. What do you need to know? Uncharted territory, right? You can't rely on past experience to get you to where you're going, because where you're going, you don't want to continue to exist in the way that you are, at least in some aspect, Cancer, right? So we have the King of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Sun. Almost this idea of, again, bringing clarity here, right? Renewed vision, happiness here, but really clarity and understanding how we let certain thoughts dictate our situation, right? And that's true for everyone. If you control your thoughts, you control your life. If you control your thoughts, you control your surroundings. And it feels like something like that is what, Spirit wants you to know here. And it feels like that is the crux of the work that you're doing overall in 2026. The Star. Yeah, who do you want to be? Right? What do you want out of life? Knight of Cups. There's a challenge component here. A challenging component here. Feels like a test. I'm wondering if you're feeling like people are testing you. Universe is testing you. You're set up to fail. Something like that. And that's not the case, right? That's not it. Eight of Cups, walking away from what no longer serves us, walking away from aspects of ourselves, aspects of our life that hold that double energy, right? Walking away from that double energy, releasing that anger, releasing that fear, releasing what's holding us back. Perhaps it is that reliance on, external. The Hierophant here, perhaps a mentor will help you release what's no longer serving, in the traditional sense, right? A spiritual leader, a religious leader, something like that. Perhaps even looking to people that you respect, right? And observing different aspects of how people maneuver in society or how they stand firm, right? Perhaps, I don't think, Cancer, you need help standing firm in anything. I think it's knowing when to walk away, right? The Sun, again, clarity, joy, finding true joy. Because I feel like this devil energy has worked so far into some sort of aspect that it's really holding you back from full enjoyment here. Page of Pentacles, again, that grounding energy, getting excited about where you're going and understanding that he has no part in it anymore. King of Wands, how are you directing your energy and being in control of your energy, right? Not letting anything, any thought make you quick to anger, make you quick to judgment, make you quick to act, right? But acting from a true center. Let's see what else. Knight of Swords. Interesting, yeah. Perhaps somebody's trying to bring that clarity to you and help you realize some external factor here is going to bring that, yeah. Bring this all to a point where they can help you articulate it. Interesting. Anything else? Last time. Thank you. Judgment. Awakening. Yeah. Awakening. That Six of Cups, right? Ace of Swords. New perspective. Ace of Pentacles. The Emperor. High Priestess. Yeah, just stepping into your own here and really connecting and not letting anything or anyone or anything hold you back. Yeah. Wow, beautiful. Something lovely will grow from this. Don't seek anyone's approval, right? You don't need it. Stand up for yourself. Do it for you. Thank you. You've earned all your stripes. You have. I forgive myself for any wrongdoing. I no longer judge or criticize myself. I am free to love who I am. Wellness is the natural state of my body. My body communicates with me, and I am willing to listen and understand its messages. Yeah. And perhaps that's what it is. There's been a denial of the body, of the physical, right? And so we need to acknowledge that as well. And acknowledge that and invite that into our routine, right? Cancer. It's always a pleasure reading for you. Thank you for sticking with me. I know that listening to this voice probably wasn't the easiest, but I wanted to make sure that I get these messages out for you. And I wish you all the best for 2026 and beyond. I can't wait to see how this unfolds for you. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. And we'll see you next time. You take care.